So this is going to be Zal's version of Kankoku Pass. This is going to be some hype shit. Oh my god. Like, that arc was so badass. And now, it's the complete opposite. It's flipped, reversed roles, so to say. Instead of Zal being the one to attack, they're the ones defending. This is looking to be fucking hype, my boy! Yo! So, I remember how hard that was. The Kankoku Pass was ridiculous. Like, it was hard to breach that. Like, all the armies working together, they could not even breach it because it was that rough. But now, 2 armies must do that. Yotanwa and Shin. That is going to be some interesting stuff. And I think I kind of understand why Ousen is actually doing that. I believe I understand. And I tried to understand, let's just hope I'm correct. But I believe the reason why he's sending those 2 to the front to take that is probably because they have a lot of expertise in brute strength, but also they have worked together in the past. They have their own personal history. And it's kind of like this, okay? Obviously, if you have experience with working with a certain person, you're going to perform better with this said person. But if there's this new person that's introduced and you're supposed to perform with this person, obviously you won't perform as well as you would with the person you already have prior knowledge of. So when you think about it like this, I feel like that is why Ousen is actually putting these 2 together to take this down, take this city. I feel like that's the entire reason of why he is doing that. Now, one thing we need to factor in, though, is that these 2 armies have a lot of experience with sieging cities. We know Shin's unit has a lot of experience. We've seen it in previous chapters, the past 100 chapters. We've seen where Shin has had to go off and attack certain cities and siege them, take them. And we know they have the brute strength to do that, to overcome impossible odds. They know how to siege walls. They know when they need to send in their, soldiers and stuff at certain points, key points of time. They have a very brilliant tactician a part of their army. I mean, they have all these things that we've seen constantly throughout Kingdom that they have used to overcome these type of odds. What is set before them is something that honestly they have already had to face in the past. And Yotanwa, that is someone that is a part of the mountain tribes. We have seen how savage and brutal they can be, and we know how much they have conquered. It makes sense that these 2 different parts of the army would come together to take this city. So I understand where Ousen is coming from. I know why he's doing this. The big question is, why is he sending these 2 in first? And honestly, I feel like Ousen is trying to preserve his main army. If you think about how this chapter was being shown, it seemed like Ousen was trying to make sure the main body of the army doesn't get harmed. They're still completely rested. They may be exhausted because they're having to fucking run like devils, but overall, they're rested to where they haven't been in combat. And I feel like that's kind of what Ousen's trying to do. He's trying to preserve all his men for the real big battle to come in the future, many chapters. Because obviously, we know when it comes to battles in Kingdom, that battles in Kingdom can be very long. I mean, this fight that we're about to see with Shin being in the spotlight, this can easily take probably 20 to 50 chapters. Easily take that many chapters because of how the mangaka loves diving into the fights, to the tactics, to how, these different generals go up against each other. We know this can easily take that many chapters. And so, if this is going to be like the starter of, the battle between Zhao and Quinn, I can't even imagine how this is going to be when Ousen finally comes in to actually initiate with his full army. So, yes, I feel like the main reason why he sent those 2 in was to preserve his army. Because if you noticed, his 2 people, his commanders beside him were like, we're ready to go. We're ready to go at your, your order. And he's like, no, you will not go. Yotanwa and Shin, pull them to the front, they will go in. It seems like he is trying to maintain his army. But at the same time, I feel like Ousen is testing these 2. I feel like he is testing them to see how useful they are in combat. Now, we gotta remember this, okay? We as the readers, we already know how useful Yotanwa is and also Shin. We have seen their feats. We have seen what they have overcome throughout the series. We know they are very competent soldiers. However, we gotta factor all of this in. As a tactician like Ousen, we gotta remember what type of position he's in. He's someone that's leading the entire army. He's someone that needs to be able to think on the fly. He needs to know what he needs to do at a certain moment, because things change rapidly on a battlefield, especially when you're running in the race against time. We know time is ticking, and the longer they take to take certain cities, that will slow them down. And also, Riboku will come back with reinforcements to fight them, and which automatically will make the entire war against Zhao fail, and then automatically would hurt the king of Qian's overall plan of uniting all of China. So there's a lot on the table and a lot at stake right now, and Ousen obviously knows about this. However, he cannot just jump in and go up against anyone he sees fit and thinks that is fine. We gotta remember what type of person he is, how he fights his battles. He automatically thinks about his men and his army over anything else. He's a very selfish person in a way. He's someone that will make his own plans. It seems like he's a coward, but he'll do anything to outsmart his opponent, but also keep his army alive and, you know, reduce the cost or the loss of his army. So when you see it like this, I understand why he's doing this. He's throwing these two out there because obviously they're not a part of the big body, the main body of the army. But on top of that, he also wants to see their strength. He wants to know what they're capable of and what they can do, which goes back to what I was saying earlier. As we know, we have seen the feats of these two characters. We know how they are. But Ousen, he doesn't know. He's heard things. He knows what they've accomplished, obviously, but he hasn't personally seen it. He hasn't seen it with his own eyes. He has not. He's always been on another battlefield somewhere else fighting, while Shin or maybe Yotanwa are fighting, so he's never personally saw them fight. And as a saying goes, seeing is believing. And so even if he knows how competent they are, even though he knows how ridiculous they are, he doesn't want to take the chance. He'd rather see it with his own eyes, for he knows what they're truly capable of. And so I feel like that is why he's putting them up against this, to see if he can use them down the road. And so that is what I feel is going on here in this fight. So yeah, overall, the chapter is a really good chapter. I mean, it seems like everything's progressing rather quickly. I mean, they've been marching for 10 days. They finally made it here. And also, apparently, they're a whole day ahead of the actual plan to, you know, go at, you know, Zhao and take them down. They're a full day ahead in their march. So it just shows you how much planning that, you know, Ousen has actually put into this. You know, commanding the army and making them march. He's someone that's staying ahead of the plan, and he's rapidly thinking about how it could change at any moment. So let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. I mean, how do you feel about this chapter? I mean, how do you feel about what Shin did in this chapter, and how he's like, the Conky army, they pulled the short straw. That, yes, it kind of sucks. It fucking sucks for them. But I mean, we have been in the exact same position many, many times in the past. In all honesty, it'd be very disrespectful if we were just to sit here and watch them or even help them out. We need to continue on marching and do what we need to do when the orders are given to us. We do not have the right to help them. Conky, even though he drew the short straw, the army did, they're going to have to deal with it on their own. We got to keep going forward, because we cannot slow down for them. So Shin saying what he did, a very good speech from him as a commander of his army, the general of his army. I am actually proud of what he did. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.